What's up guys, Axel from Good Time Gaming. Today I'm bringing you guys a little build that is good for one down, it's good for Death Wish, it's good for Mayhem, it's pretty much good for anything that you might want to do in Payday 2. This build should work on consoles as well. I don't have a console version of the game to test it, but from what I've been able to see, read, and look up, it should work just fine. So with this build, we're going to be using crossbows, we're going to be using grenade launchers, and taking advantage of the epic minions in this game. I'm sure there's probably a lot of iterations of this build out there already. I don't know, I don't really go out there and look for those things, but this is my take, this is my video, and hopefully you guys will learn something here and put this build into practice. I've been actually very surprised at how much I've enjoyed running this build, so hopefully you guys will like it too. We'll start by going through the skills, we'll take a look at the weapons, take a look at your gear, and then we will, in that process, kind of mix in some footage, give you guys some tidbits, and then send you on your way to go out there and get all the money. Let's get started. So the way I have this build set up right now, you have 15 remaining skill points. So what that means is that for those of you guys who don't have Infamy, you'll be able to run this build. However, for those of you guys that do have Infamy, that means you have 15 points that you can use on some other useful skills, which I will kind of lay out as I go through here. So starting out here in the Mastermind tree, you see that we are taking Doc Bags with Inspire, so that'll let you raise your teammates up. It gives you Doctor Bags to use for yourself, your team, to get those downs restored. You'll also be getting some souped up minions courtesy of controllers. So you'll be taking basic Forced Friendship, you'll be acing Confident, Joker, and Partners in Crime. All those things together are going to let you have 2 minions, which will be able to take a lot of damage. That will dish out a lot of damage, and you also have an extra 30% health and an additional 10% movement speed. So that's going to really help you stay alive. Last but not least, we're going to be acing Hostage Taker. By doing that, you will regenerate almost 5% of your health every 5 seconds. It's 4.5% for those of you guys that are keeping track. What that means is that you will not suffer from some of the problems that other dodge builds have, wherein you have to rely on medkits. If you run out of medkits, you can't get your health back. Dodge is great up until the moment that you take damage, and then you cannot recover that damage. This takes care of that by having you regenerate it just simply by being alive and having a minion. So, good news there. Do note that this works whether or not you have a converted cop or not. Whether you have a civilian hostage or a converted cop, as long as you have at least one of those things, you'll benefit from this. Generally what I try and do is I will try and stash a civilian on a map somewhere that's like really obscure, or is in a place that I know the cops will not path to, as you guys can kind of see right here as I'm stashing them in this little stairwell here. These civilians will be safe there, they'll be sitting there the entire game, and the cops will not disturb them. Last but not least in Mastermind, if you want to use some of those extra points, then you can go up in here and Sharpshooter and get Stable Shot, Rifleman, and then High Value Target. The only thing that's really of interest here is Basic Rifleman, so you'll snap zoom quicker with your weapons, and then you will also have unhindered movement speed while aiming, which can be kind of useful. And then the other thing is High Value Target, so enemies that you mark will take 15% more damage. So it's really not that much of a benefit to you since you're using poison, but for your teammates, it might help them take out dozers or shield or tasers a little bit quicker. Next up in Enforcer, we will be taking Basic Resilience, Basic Die Hard, and Basic Shock and Awe. So this is basically just going to increase our armor recovery rate, so whenever your armor does get shot through, it'll pop back a little bit quicker. And then Basic Die Hard makes it so you take 50% less damage when you're interacting with an object. So that would be like opening a door or converting a cop, whatever you're doing. You'll take half damage during that time. Now, in this tree, there are a few things that you can get if you so choose. You could, for example, ace Underdog, so you get 15% more damage bonus and a little bit of a damage reduction, which is 10%. You could also ace Bullseye, so if you do happen to get a headshot on an enemy, you will regenerate 25 points of your armor immediately, which can be kind of helpful. Generally, I don't really go for Bullseye or ace Underdog. Sometimes I'll take Basic, but it's not really one of those things that I like. But it is an option there for those of you guys that are interested. Now into Ghost, we're going to be acing Duck and Cover, acing Parkour, acing Inner Pockets, and taking Basic Sneaky Bastard. So all of these things are going to give us faster movement speed, faster stamina regeneration, as well as dodge, and then the ability to run and reload at the same time, which is very useful for our crossbow and for our China Lake grenade launcher. Basic Sneaky Bastard will make it so that you have dodge, so we're going to add a little bit extra dodge on top of what you're going to get from Rogue. Also in Ghost, I always take Basic Second Wind, so whenever your armor breaks, you get 30% movement speed bonus for 5 seconds. Very handy if you're trying to clear a large gap and you take damage and you want to try and get to cover quickly. Just a really good skill all around. It's a very easy and wonderful skill for 1 point to get, so I highly recommend it. Now, also in the Ghost tree, you have a few options here. If you wanted to, you could take basic optical illusions and then get basic low blow, which will give you critical hit on your crossbow. Since the main damage of yours is going to be from poison, I don't really recommend that so much. It can make killing dozers a little bit easier, so I mean, it's not a terrible option, but it's also not a super amazing one either. Another option here in Ghost is to just simply take basic inner pockets, so that you're going to get that 2 points of concealment on your melee weapon, and then ace shockproof, and then take basic sneaky bastard. So acing shockproof will make it so that if you get tasered by a taser, then all you have to do is press your interact button or your interact key, whatever that is, whether you're on a console or PC, and that's going to shock the taser back and then free you from his tase. This can be very handy because when it comes to the crossbow, you only have one shot. So if you get hit by a taser and you're running and you don't know where he is and you just fire your bolt, and guess what? You're probably going to end up going down. I don't tend to take shockproof because it isn't really a big problem for me. The way I kind of get around this is whenever I know I'm going to have to run or like clear a distance, I'll switch over to my grenade launcher. That way if I do get tased, I have 3 grenades in there usually. That'll just, I can try and find the taser, I can pop a grenade at him as I'm getting tased and then free myself and move right along. But you do what works best for you. And last but not least, in Fugitive, we're going to go into the Revenant tree and take Ace 9 lives. That way we get 1 more down, giving us a total of 2. And we'll take Aced Swan Song. So you will have 9 seconds of just firing your grenade launcher whenever you go into down, which is pretty nice. Now, another option here in the Fugitive tree is you can take Basic Feign Death, which will give you 15% chance to get up instantly if you go down, and then Ace Messiah. So that way, whenever you go into bleed out, whenever you're down on the ground, if you kill an enemy, then you will immediately jump right back up. What's nice about this is that you start out with 1 charge anyways, and then whenever you use a doctor bag, you regenerate that charge. And since you're in 1 down, you'll probably be hitting the doctor bag a few times. Hopefully not too many times, but probably more than once during the heist. So you're going to get a little bit of mileage out of this skill if you decide to go Messiah. Not the route I tend to go, but it is an option for those of you guys out there who want to bring this. Alright guys, so we have the skills. Let's take a look at the weapons. For your primary weapon, you're going to be taking the light crossbow. You will be taking poison bolts on it, and you will be boosting it for concealment. For your secondary, you're going to be taking the China Puff grenade launcher. I take explosive rounds. If you want to take incendiary, you could, I guess, but I prefer explosive. You're going to boost that thing for concealment, and then you're going to take the riot stock. For your melee weapon, I recommend the buzzer. It makes it easier to convert cops, and if an enemy comes around the corner and you're trying to reload your weapon, just hit him with that, reload your weapon, and then just shoot him in the face with it. Easy. For your throwable, I usually like to take the concussion grenades. However, one problem this build has is against bulldozers. One way around this is to take one of the throwables, so like say the shuriken or the javelin, throwing knife, throwing axe, one of these sharp throwables, because that way you can use your secondary to blow off the plates of armor on his face, switch over to one of these things and just chuck it at his face and hopefully kill him right then and there. But I tend to like the concussion grenade. When it comes to bulldozers, usually the way that I try and play it is I will knock off their armor and just start hitting them with my poison bolts, and I'll just keep on marking him out for my team and just trying to generally take aggro from him. So if one of my teammates is trying to get around the corner to shoot him, hopefully the bulldozer's looking at me and not at them, and they can take him out real quick. Hasn't been much of a problem so far. For your deployable, we're going to be taking doctor bags, like I said earlier. Your armor will be the 2-piece suit, and you will be taking the rogue perk deck. So if you guys have been watching the footage here and kind of keeping track, you guys will notice that the way that you kind of use poison bolts is you just shoot the target, you shoot the enemy, you set it and forget it. So I hit the dozer with it. It's not going to kill him, but it'll kill the taser, it'll kill medic, it'll kill shields, it'll kill the 1-down cops. If you hit an enemy who has armor plates, so like one of the cops that has the armor chest plates, then it doesn't matter. It'll still penetrate that. It'll still poison them out and kill them. Because you only have 1 shot before you have to reload, you have to make sure every shot really counts. You don't have a laser dot, so you don't really have a reliable little marker as to where your hip fire is going to go to. But just a little bit of practice will help get you guys accustomed to not having to aim so much. I have to use your fine aim in order to be able to hit a target with the crossbow. I usually try and keep to like a short and medium range encounter, because at longer ranges the crossbow bolt's going to fall off more. It makes it much harder to hit your targets at that range. And plus the short ranges, if you get into like a good little groove, you can just pretty much just walk right through a hallway and just nail cops left and right with your crossbow without even having to aim. Even if a medic tries to heal a cop, the cop will still die from the poison damage. So that is also really nice. With dozers, like I said, they're a little more difficult simply because you don't have a reliable, strong, damaging way to take them out. If you're going to use the poison bolts and grenade launcher, I would honestly just knock off their plates with a grenade launcher, switch over to your poison, and just try and hit them in the face with that. If you're not, of course, using, like, say, the javelin or the shuriken or some sort of a throwable secondary, that's going to be able to take them out a lot easier. Like I've said, it's not really ever been much of a problem for me. I've been getting all this footage here with randoms. None of the people featured in any of these clips are people that I even know, and I've not really had any problems with bulldozers at all. I've actually been pretty pleased with how things have been going playing this build. Do keep in mind that, as with any higher difficulty in this game, the more enemies that can shoot you, the higher chance that you will get killed. Do keep in mind that since you're using rogue, every time that a bullet comes your way, you are rolling the dice as to whether or not you're going to get hit. You have about a 60% chance to dodge when you're not running, so that's a pretty high chance, but it'll still sometimes feel like you have a 0% chance because you're just going to get hit left and right and just peppered by bullets. Hopefully your hostage taker will help to kind of heal some of that damage, plus you're going to have the bonus of the extra health courtesy of your converted cop, so do thank your cop for that. But no, this build's great. It's a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. I've never really been a big fan of crossbows in this game at all. And honestly, whenever I decided I wanted to do a build with this, I thought, okay, well, I'll give this thing a try, because I've never really tried it before. And I've been really pleased with it. So if anybody out there is still kind of holding out about crossbows, like they're not really sure about it, give them a shot. You know, I wouldn't use it on anything below Death Wish, simply because it's just probably not worth your time. But on one down, it's very viable, and I really enjoy having the extra skill points to kind of put into other things that are going to help keep me alive and keep my team alive. So, let me know what you guys think. I hope you all enjoy this build, and I will see you all in the next video. This is actually a good time gaming. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share if you like anything you saw today. And remember to always have a good time gaming.